Good evening. I would like to welcome and call to order the April 16, 2024 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. We would like to welcome those that are in attendance as well as those watching at home or streaming online. Madam Clerk, if you would, call the roll.
Director Miller. Director Richardson.
Here.
Director Peck. Here. Director Hines.
Present.
Director Lewis. Here. Director Wyrick.
Present.
Director Compuris.
Present.
Director Phillips.
Present.
Director Adcock.
Present.
Vice Mayor Webb.
Here.
Mayor Scott.
Present. We'll now have an invocation from City Director B.J. Wyrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Please guide and direct us in our meeting this evening. As per your direction, we are here to benefit those that need our support. Be with each of us as we make the decisions this evening, and that our decisions will be for the direct benefit of our city residents and city workers. A special prayer for our mayor, our police chief, and our fire chief. I pray you will guide our city attorney in his direction to the board and the mayor. Be with our acting city manager as she struggles with the details of running our city. Thank you for our city clerk as she provides us data and keeps us on track for our meetings. We always have a number of senior citizens in our city and in the audience. Please grant our seniors strength for today as well as bright hope for tomorrow. Teach us to love, support, and respect the elderly as you do, and to see them as the knowledge keepers and dreamers of our time. Guide our younger citizens as they find their way in life. Guide, direct, and protect them. Thank you to all the citizens that are here tonight to participate in the city process. Be with each of us as we travel home tonight. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. May we all please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, I'm going to make a couple changes. First, we'll go with City Director Lance Hines, who has two motions. Then Vice Mayor Kathy Webb has a motion, and then we'll hear from the St. Paul United Methodist Church Boy Scout Troop number 30.
Thank you, Mayor. It's come to my knowledge through Brian Day, our director at the port, that we had an error in the resolution we passed last meeting. So I'm going to make a motion to amend resolution 16,285 with the paperwork I've been given, and I'll hand that to the city clerk.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Your second order of business, Director Hines.
Second order of business is a motion to rescind item 35 from our last agenda. That's planning item Z7840.
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Motion to rescind passes. Vice Mayor Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a
Mayor,
motion.
the matter for the one that just passed will be heard on May the 7th.
The matter that just passed will be heard. The motion to rescind that just recently passed will be heard on May 7th.
And will be on the agenda for April 30th.
30th, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to rescind item 25 from February 6th, item Z-9827.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. We'll now hear from Scout.
Mayor. Same thing that happened with Director Hines' motion happens with Vice Mayor's motion, correct?
It was a motion to rescind?
Yes.
Yes.
And Mayor,
You heard May.
Correct, May 7th.
quick point of clarification for those who are listening, those who are here. Brian is here. Would we like to have Brian come up and explain to us what we just did and what was incorrect?
Yeah, if so, sure, but Mr. Dave, please be very brief. We got a lot on the agenda today.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Last week, you allowed us to purchase some property from the Jack Tyler estate. And if you remember, you allowed us to buy a portion of it now and the remainder of it when the rest of the bonds are issued. This resolution tonight just amends that to clarify that we're entering into an agreement to buy that land with the owner when the rest of the bonds are issued.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll now have Scout Troop 30 from St. Paul United Methodist Church. As they approach, I want to handle this now rather than later. City Attorney, do you want to say anything? I know you're a National Boy Scout, so catch you on the front end, not the back end.
What they're here for is going to be either Communications Merit Badge or Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge, or both. And both of those are required for the rank of Eagle Scout, and they have to attend one of these meetings. They survive it, then they have to take nature survival and camping later on at Scout Camp.
That's serious punishment there.
All right. Scout Troop 30, I know you guys are working to get your communications badge.
Yes.
How about we communicate? Does somebody want to share a few words or what you guys have learned maybe?
I'm the taskmaster for the Communication Merit Badge, and the gentlemen, the young men that you see in front of you tonight have left back in the room their pencil and paper, and they are going to write up a summary of two opposing points of view and turn those in for I believe that's requirement 5. Is that right, guys? Thank you, guys. They know this. Requirement number 5 of the Communication Merit Badge.
Awesome. What we'll do to make certain that you guys are fully communicating online and on TV, if each of you all will share your name and what grade you are and what school.
I'm James Henderson. I'm in 8th grade. I go to Christ Little Rock.
I'm Arda. I am senior and I'm an exchange student in Arkansas School for the Blind.
My name is Luke Pullum, and I'm in 7th grade at Pulaski Heights Middle School.
Oh, your microphone down.
My name is Braden. And I'm 12 years old, 6th grade, and I go to Forest Heights.
My name is Joe, and I am in 8th grade, and I go to Christ Lutheran.
My name is Jake Wood, and I'm in 7th grade at Pulaski Heights Middle School.
My name is John Hill. I'm in 8th grade, and I go to Christ Little Rock.
My name is Kevin Maynard O'Connell, and I am in 7th grade and go to Forest Heights STEM Academy.
My name is Bryson Strawn Lee, and I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Forest Heights STEM Academy.
Thank you, guys. We're so proud of you. All right. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda. Former Mayor Stoley, what's your item? I was just joking. You don't have to come up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to everybody. I'm on the consent agenda on item 16.
Thank you. We're not going to call it separate. Mayor Stoley, you're going a little overboard.
Please don't take it off the agenda. My client wants to buy some property from the city.
Will do. Madam Clerk.
The consent agenda consists of a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Carl Malone Ford in amount not to exceed $199,600 plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of 4 Ford F-150 Lightning Crew Cab EV trucks for the Public Works and Fleet Services Departments and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into contract with Deere & Company in amount not to exceed $95,971.24 plus applicable taxes and fees for the purchase of 1 John Deere 5100 E cab tractor, loader, and mower for the Public Works Landfill Division and for the purposes funding from the American Rescue Plan Act. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Centus Corporation in an annual amount not to exceed $60,000 plus applicable taxes and fees for uniforms and supplies for the Fleet Services Department and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with the Griffin Group LLC an amount not to exceed $220,000 for the maintenance of concrete medians located within the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. A resolution to express the willingness of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to utilize federal aid transportation alternative program funds for the West Markham Street Side Path Project to authorize the city manager to execute all necessary agreements and documents for its administration and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a final contract extension with Professional Account Management LLC for a parking management system for the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Alessi Keys Construction in amount not to exceed $1,222,000 to provide construction services for the Komodo dragon habitat at the Little Rock Zoo and for other purposes, funding from the 3/8 capital improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Pro Track and Tennis Incorporated in amount not to exceed $110,000 for resurfacing seven of the tennis courts at Rebsamen Tennis Facility and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to execute permanent and temporary easements for the acquisition and lease of land for the Tri Creek Greenway Trail Project and for other purposes. A resolution to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Resolution Number 15,969 of May the 2nd, 2023, to authorize the city manager to enter into a one-year extension of the contract with JTS Financial Services in amount not to exceed $95,000 for employment benefits consultant services and for other purposes. A resolution to amend Little Rock, Arkansas Resolution Number 15,946 of March the 21st, 2023, to authorize the city manager to extend the contract with Fab 44 in amount not to exceed $200,000 to provide a day labor program to the residents of Little Rock, Arkansas in an effort to reduce community violence and increase public safety and for other purposes. A resolution to set May 7th as the date of public hearing to consider the issuance of water reclamation sewer revenue bonds for the purpose of financing betterments and improvements to the city's water reclamation system and for the purposes. A resolution to transfer the title of property located at 1816 South Schiller Street from the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to Ross Toyne, owner of Fairfield Historic Properties Incorporated, to be used for neighborhood revitalization programs and for other purposes. A resolution to amend Resolution Number 16,285 of April 2nd, 2024, to authorize the Little Rock Port Authority to enter into mortgage and promissory note with the Jack Tyler Family LLC in the amount of $3,350,000 for the purchase of approximately 13 tracts of land for use by the Little Rock Port Authority for economic development and for other purposes. That concludes the consent agenda.
Move for the adoption of the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion, and before we go to the vote, I see a question from Director Capurus.
Simple question. On resolution number 4, can you ask the Griffin Group LLC to give us an idea how they plan to maintain concrete medians in the city?
Yes, sir.
The median on University is probably the ugliest piece of, and the czarist, I'm sure, wants it fixed up.
You can add Chenal Parkway and Bowman to that as well.
We'll get with Mr. Honeywell's in the overflow room. So, Mr. Honeywell, if you did not hear Director Capurus, we want to get some schematics on how they will maintain and or renovate the medians. But we'll get that concept for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the grouped items.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development office titled Bennett Office Retail Revised PDO located at 2201 North Rodney Parham Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial development titled Highway 10 Mini Storage PCD located at 23,001, Highway 10, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned office development titled Family Peace Center POD, located on the east side of Daly Drive in the 9,000 block, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Scott STR2 PDC, located at 5024 Lee Avenue, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled King 1 STR2 PDC, located at 1715 North Tyler Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled King 2 STR2 PDC, located at 1715A North Tyler Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Hardin STR2 PDC, located at 1711 North Grant Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes, an ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and establish a planned development commercial titled King 3 STR2 PDC, located at 1616 North Grant Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, an ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 22,158 of August the 2nd, 2022, to authorize the city manager to extend the contract with J.A. Riggs at an annual amount not to exceed $250,000 for Caterpillar parts and service for the Fleet Services Department, and for the purposes, an ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as necessary to raise or remove said structures, to declare an emergency, and for the purposes, first reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place on second reading, third
Second.
reading.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have a second reading.
An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development office titled Bennett Office and Retail Revised PDO, located at 2201 North Rodney Parham Road. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned commercial development titled Highway 10 Mini Storage PCD, located at 23,001 Highway 10. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned office development titled Family Peace Center POD, located on the east side of Daly Drive in that 9,000 block. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Scott STR2 PDC, located at 5024 Lee Avenue. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled King 1 STR2 PDC, located at 1715 North Tyler Street. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled King 2 STR2 PDC, located at 1715A North Tyler Street. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned development commercial titled Hardin STR2 PDC, located at 1711 North Grant Street. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development and establish a planned development commercial titled King 3 STR2 PDC, located at 1616 North Grant Street. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 22,158 to authorize the city manager to extend the contract with J.A. Riggs at an annual amount not to exceed $250,000 for Caterpillar parts and service for the Fleet Services Department. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as is necessary to raise and remove said structures, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Who was my second?
Second was Director Hines.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development office titled Bennett Office Retail Revised PDO located at 2201 North Rodney Parham Road. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned commercial development titled Highway 10 Mini Storage PCD located at 23,001 Highway 10. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan office development titled Family Peace Center POD located on the east side of Daly Drive in the 9000 block. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Scott STR2 PDC located at 5024 Lee Avenue. An ordinance to reclassify property located in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled King 1 STR2 PDC located at 1715 North Tyler Street. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled King 2 STR2 PDC located at 1715A North Tyler Street. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Hardin STR2 PDC located at 1711 North Grant Street. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled King 3 STR2 PDC located at 1616 North Grant Street. An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas ordinance number 22,158 to authorize the city manager to extend the contract with J. Riggs in an annual amount not to exceed $250,000 for Caterpillar parts and services for the Fleet Services Department. An ordinance to condemn certain structures in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas with structural fire and health hazards, to provide for summary abatement procedures, to direct city staff to take such action as necessary to raise and remove said structures. Third and final reading.
We've now had 3 readings. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Director?
Yeah, excuse me, Mayor, it's not a question, but a correction on, actually, I'm so sorry, it's a separate item. Apologize.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have
Emergency
emergency
clause.
clause on 26.
26, emergency clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 27.
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a promissory note to provide short-term financing under Amendment Number 78 to the Arkansas Constitution for the acquisition, construction, and installation of a solar photovoltaic array, prescribing other matters pertaining thereto, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. First reading.
Suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a promissory note to provide short-term financing under Amendment Number 78 to the Arkansas Constitution for the acquisition, construction, and installation of a solar photovoltaic array, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
Move suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a promissory note to provide short-term financing under Amendment Number 78 to the Arkansas Constitution for the acquisition, construction, and installation of a solar photovoltaic array, prescribing other matters pertaining thereto, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
We've now had 3 readings. We have, going in order, Director Wyrick, Director Pegg, then Director Computers.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure I know enough about what we're doing with this ordinance. One of the things that I read is that we're going to sell electricity to others. And who might those others be that we're going to sell to? Initially, when we had the presentation, I thought it was going to be for city hall type entities. Are we talking about selling to businesses?
No,
Residential, what are we talking about selling to others?
I'm pretty certain it's talking about the short-term notes that we're going to do a bid for financing on that open market. We're not selling anything.
It says by meeting this deadline, the city will be able to sell electricity to the grid at the same price that electricity is bought from the grid.
That's that's verbiage in regards to how we get our reduced. We're not selling anything. So essentially, By going solar, we will reduce the amount that we utilize from the grid, the energy grid, by utilizing solar. And so we're going to have cost savings because we won't be using traditional energy resources or reserves. We'll be utilizing solar, which is more sustainable, more cleaner and green friendly, and also cheaper.
Yeah, I understand that's what our goal is, but you got to walk before you run. And I know there's been a lot of study done on this, but I'm just now looking at it and thinking, okay, what are we selling to? We don't have a piece of property yet that we're going to use this money for. Are we any closer than we were last week or a couple of weeks ago to know where this array is going to be placed?
So I want to make sure I'm clear. We are not selling anything. That's number one.
I heard that.
Okay.
I heard that.
By utilizing solar, it is going to reduce our current energy usage via dollars that the city expends. So we're going to save money. So that's over here. Second thing, as it relates to the property, we have 3 to 4 locations, all of which we own. 2 locations the Little Rock Port Authority owns. However, as you know, we'll get a good price because we're technically the owner as well. But as we go through the process before we get the final interconnection from Entergy, they will help us decide what that is. But we have to give them those options. So each option, no matter what the option is, we will likely own it. If it's or unless they'll get it from the port.
Okay, and so...
And that's not nothing foreign for any other municipality or business that's done it this way. That's not foreign not to have a location.
Yeah, it's just a question that I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Sure. The other question that I have is, since we don't have an exact location, then I'm imagining that there's got to be some infrastructure that has got to ship this electricity that we're going to purchase and going to save us money. So do we have the infrastructure in place to go to all the city facilities? And if not, then when will we have it? And is that a part of this short-term financing?
The infrastructure will be in place at the associated properties that we've selected that we own.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
The infrastructure is already in place in the associated properties that we own. We'll be constructing solar panels on top of the land that we own. Okay. And the solar panel construction process is part of the funds that we're utilizing to do that.
Okay, but you got to get it somewhere. So that's my question is
yes, we have the distribution, yes.
We have the distribution lines. Thank you for that word. Distribution line is what I was trying to think of. So we have distribution lines available in any of one of the 4 properties that we might select.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's not a part of this $12 million?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is MISO involved in any of this grid transfer? Is that part of the energy interconnection thing you're talking about?
No, ma'am. MISO is, to make it...
They control the grid is what I understand.
Yeah, to oversimplify, they're the air traffic controllers for Entergy. Okay.
So we don't have to go through a permit with them?
No, we have to go through Entergy.
Our interconnection is solely with Entergy. Okay. All right. Well, those are a few of my questions. Thank you for being patient with me.
Yes, ma'am. Director Peck?
Yes, I just have a correction on item 29. It says it's located in Ward 6, but this is now Ward 4.
Yes, ma'am. We'll make that correction.
Thank you.
We still haven't voted on 27 though, right?
No, but she had her hand up. Director Campiris. I thought it was 427, but it's fine.
Okay.
Somewhat, when we pass this tonight, is there another step if what we're anticipating doesn't happen, that we have a way out of this if it doesn't work? Are we all in with this motion tonight?
We are all in until we receive the proposal. We won't expend funds until we receive the approval from Entergy, but we can't get the approval or meet the September 2024 deadline imposed by the state legislature until we do this process.
Right, so.
We're not all in until we get our approval from Entergy.
But at that point, do we revote, or if we get the approval from Entergy, then it's done?
Correct. We're going to go to construction. We have to get the finances to start the process.
Okay. And then just roughly, what's the payback on this amount of money over what period of time?
So essentially, we are doing a 5-year note for $12 million. Once we get the construction complete, we will apply for a IRS federal government tax subsidy that will take it down from 12 million to 8 million. And Director Hines actually did the math, but essentially we're saving gross, and I want to stress gross, we're saving over 20 years, $21 million in this process. So essentially, we'll pay this back, this 5-year note, we'll pay it back in 5 years, but we'll essentially, what was the math on that, Director Hines? I can't remember.
8 years.
8 years.
To pay back the what we have out?
Yeah, well, it'll be 8-year payback at $1 million a year.
Okay. And then how does this interface with what we're doing with Bernhardt? How do we working?
They're two, those are two, well, since we hadn't shared that all with the members of the board, are you aware of it? Well, we'll go ahead and share that. I know the city attorney's aware of it, but those are two separate things.
Well, I know, but we're not excluding one to do the other.
No, this won't have any impact on it.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, what you're referring to is going to have is the sustainability and the efficiency of our chill water assets.
Right, but I just want to make sure that we talk about, before we pass this, that the payback is there, the grant is there, and we're committed fully tonight as long as Entergy gives us our.
Yes, by September 3rd, by September of 2024.
And then what happens if they don't?
If they don't, we don't spend the money.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't spend the money. We probably will be out. We'll be out some fees to Scenic Hill because a part of this process to do the interconnection fee, I think they spend anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 because there are a lot of analysis and things. So a lot of human workforce work they have to do to even get to that point. So we'll probably, if they deny us, which we doubt, but if they did deny us, we'd probably be out $100,000, $200,000 out of the $12 million. And that's to pay the contractor that you all have already approved.
Okay.
So we approved a few months ago Scenic Hill to be the developer. Now we're utilizing this resolution is to pay the developer as well to start the process.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're all talking about the same thing.
And for everyone, what Director Campiris shared just a few minutes ago, we have been working with a local energy as a service provider to look into how we can better utilize our chill water assets in a clean, efficient way to redistribute energy and figure out dollars. We've entered into an MOU, not a contract, to do some due diligence on whether or not this is a possibility to do long term. That's what Director Campiris is referring to. Director Adcock, then Director Phillips.
Mayor, what is the interest on this loan?
We just did the
We'll
bid.
be issuing a bid tomorrow if the board approves this. So we don't have an interest rate
Several
yet.
months ago, we had a presentation on this, and then it seemed to kind of go away. And since that time, we've heard we don't have it in the budget, we can't afford it, we don't have it in the budget. I've heard several things come before this board, or several people ask me, and the answer is it's not in the budget. So how now can we make these payments on this loan in the budget when it's not in the budget?
Well, first and foremost, it is in the budget. That's the reason why we were making amendments to the budget. No, it's not amendment to the budget, amendment to the payment. Point of the fact of the matter is how we have it financed set up is that we account for short-term note payments. So I'm going to answer two of your questions. One, we don't know what the exact percentage is, but I can tell you that the last short-term note that we've done, there generally are, we're pretty good credit to the banking market. They're pretty low. And I don't want to set a number, but I can say the last one was probably between 1% and 2% on a 5-year note because we're such a good credit to the banks out there. Hopefully you guys start there and not higher. From that standpoint, secondarily, we have some short-term notes that are falling off, and that will account for the annual payment that we can make.
Well, I would like to see us postpone this until we get more information with the questions Dr. Campiris has and some of the questions that I have and some of the people who've called me wanted to know, how is it in the budget if we can't afford anything that's not in the budget?
It's in the budget because it won't be in the budget until you approve it. We have a way to fund it in the budget based on some short-term notes falling off.
Thank you.
And that's the reason why it's coming before you, because we can't do it without your vote.
I've got one more question.
Yes, ma'am, then we'll go to
What does this do
director.
with our relationship with Energy?
Excuse me?
What does this do with our relationship with Energy?
It reduces the amount of dollars that we're giving them, but it does not diminish or hurt our relationship. We just recently, we're in strong communication with the Energy leadership. We just literally just signed off on a few recommendation letters for them and what they're doing in some of their business model. So it won't hurt the relationship.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Director Phillips.
I was just going to call the question, Mayor.
There's a motion second to call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Members of the board, we've now had 3 readings. Are there any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Members of the board, I want to share my appreciation to you and what we're doing to lead.
Mayor, you've got an
We have
emergency
clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it. Members of the city board, I want to share our appreciation. This is a big day for sustainability in the city of Little Rock. I want to give credit to our Sustainability Commission, which City Director Peck is a part of and has been a leader and advocate, as well as James Owen, who's been doing a lot of the legwork to get us to this point in our finance department and many other people. So just want to share that appreciation. And to our city attorneys, I believe Sherry, or is it Sherry or Beth? Sherry, want to share that appreciation as well. Thank you, members. We'll now go to item number 28.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development residential titled Songbird Residential Apartments, PDC, located immediately north of 13,301 Sardis Road, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
All those, there's a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have a second reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development residential titled Songbird Residential Apartments, PDC, located immediately north of 13,301 Sardis Road, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, third reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development residential titled Songbird Residential Apartments, PDC, located immediately north of 13,301 Sardis Road, third and final reading.
Members of the board, we now have 3 readings. Are there any questions? Any questions? Item number 28, we'll have Mr. Gerald Gregory if he wants to speak. Do you want to speak or? Okay. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Is he the applicant?
He's the applicant, but I think he may have read the room. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Would you say, Director Robert?
What?
Did you say something?
I said he may be in that back room.
No, he's right there. He said he didn't have anything to say.
Gerald, you should talk about your project.
Well, Gerald, we passed. We got agenda going.
You got it done, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 29.
An ordinance to approve a plan zone development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 2 STR2 PDC located at 4 Catalina Court, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zone development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 2 STR2 PDC located at 4 Catalina Court, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purpose, second reading.
Suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading. Then we'll go to Director Peck.
Okay. An ordinance to approve a plan zone development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 2 STR2 PDC located at 4 Catalina Court, third and final reading.
Members of the board, we now have 3 readings. Director Peck.
Thank you, Mayor. This actually pertains to both 29 and 30, and if Director Collins could come forward for just a very quick second, if he's here.
He's in the overflow room. If someone want to go get Director Collins.
Hi, Jamie. Thank you. First of all, this is now, actually both of these 29 and 30 are in Ward 4, and I see that the staff recommended denial on both of these applications, although the Planning Commission supported it, and I believe this is because bill of assurance in the neighborhoods. Could you address that briefly?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, members of the board, Vice Mayor. In the zoning, there is inside the code, the Planning Commission and the board may take a bill of assurance under its consideration for when they make the decision in the zoning matters. And we have reiterated that to the Planning Commission, and so as staff, we've been asked that we make sure we provide that if we have it to them. And that is also part of our recommendation as well. We do take that in consideration. I also want to point out for the legality of it, we only looked at one aspect is, does it appear to be that it's still valid as far as time and running out? We did not look at it for any legal means of whether it had been exercised or challenged. Is what we was presented, and that's what we gave to the Planning Commission. And y'all also have, anytime you request it, has access to it as well. So that was the reason for our recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay. Nay.
Nays have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 30.
An ordinance to approve a plan zone development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 3 STR2 PDC located at 8 Serenity Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
Suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zone development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 3 STR2 PDC located at 8 Serenity Drive, second reading.
We suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Evans 3 STR2 PDC located at 8 Serenity Drive, third and final reading.
Members of the board, we now have 3 readings. Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 31.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Master Company PDC located at 9911 West Markham Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
Suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
Members of the board, we've now had 3 readings.
No, that was first reading.
First reading, sorry. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Master Company PDC located at 9911 West Markham Street, second reading.
We suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a plan development commercial titled Master Company PDC located at 9911 West Markham Street, third and final reading.
Members of the board, we've had 3 readings. We have a question from Director Richardson or a comment.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, first I'd like to thank Director Hines last week for trying to capture my feeling or my thoughts or position from a policy standpoint with respect to convenience stores. I think last you may have mentioned that I had some suggestion with respect to policy with convenience stores without gas pumps, and that was somewhat incorrect. My position is even with gas pumps, when you have a area of our city where we have a disproportionate number of convenience stores and liquor stores that are sometimes located in food deserts, which contributes unbelievably to some of the highest childhood obesity rates that you would not believe if you saw those rates and you did an objective analysis. My point with that, Lance, is to say, even if they had gas pumps, I would still have objections to a disproportionate number of convenience stores, because once they close down, guess what happens? We have environmental hazards, we have brownfields, so those areas are faced with not just the food desert and financial desert part, they have environmental issues that we have to deal with, and it doesn't seem like there's a concerted effort for us meaning the city, to look at state funding for brownfield assessment and cleanup grants to use as part of what we talked about, we passed earlier this night on our day labor. Lance, I want to thank you for that point, but I want to get some clarification with respect to my position on convenience stores and those that sometimes conveniently, no pun intended, end up being disproportionately located in certain parts of our community that contributes to a lot of health issues that we end up having to deal with, and sometimes some crime, public safety issues as well. So just that point of clarification, Mayor.
All right. Director Wyatt.
Mayor, do you have any cards on this item?
No, ma'am.
When I was at the Planning Commission, there were 3 or 4 objectors to it, so that's why I was asking. They had some issues with it going in, but you have no cards. Is the applicant here?
Is the applicant here? Yeah, the applicant's here. Please approach.
Director Lewis asked for this to be held separate, so I don't know if she's got questions or comments or not. But
the ones who were opposed couldn't make it, but I have received several against this item.
Good evening, City of Little Rock Board of Directors. Myself, I'm Pavitran. I'm representing the Master Company LLC. The location 991 West Markham Street, Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm trying to rezone it from like office location to a commercial location for doing a convenience store business. Like Mr. Director said, like about the gas station, this is not a project involving gas, oil, or anything. It's going to be a simple convenience store with food. The main goal is to have a breakfast, lunch program going over there, and like said in the previous planning board commissions, they were opponents and they were having some issues, which I was taking care about the fencing. I gave the proof, code, and explained everything in front of board in last 2 meetings. And yeah, I will appreciate the board if they give me an opportunity and approve my application. Thank you. Any questions, sir?
I don't see any more. Director Wyatt, do you have any questions? Director Richardson, any questions?
no, I was just looking to see if there were cards here. I know Director Lewis requested it be separate, and there were 2 or 3 people that objected to it at the Planning Commission. So I just was looking for information from the audience. Thank you.
And Mayor, my point is I just want to have a clarification to my clarification. Director Hines had, he thought we had codified some policy that would govern the placement of these without gas pumps. And I think Tom couldn't answer the question or didn't know if we had any kind of policies in place or any ordinances or any kind of legislation in place. So to be fair to Director Hines, that was his question last week when this issue came up. And I was watching the meeting from home, so I wasn't able to chime in as quickly as I'd like to. So I think that Tom Lance had asked you, had we codified some kind of legislation with respect to the placement of convenience stores in areas where they didn't have convenience stores without gas pumps. And I think, if I remember correctly, last week you said you don't remember, you didn't know if we had or we hadn't. I've never introduced such a policy or such an ordinance. That's just to be fair to Lance and with respect to my position, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Director Phillips?
Yeah, just a quick question for the applicant, then Director Collins. Did you say that you're only serving breakfast and lunch, so you won't be open till 8 p.m.?
Yeah, sure. Like, we're going to be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure I was clear on that.
So that's dinner.
So that you will be serving things other than lunch since it's
Yes,
after.
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I
We
was
should be cleaning up and setting up everything, so it's like that.
understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Director Collins, he answered my question, so you do not have to come in here. Oh, there you go. Anyway, we're good.
All right. Any more questions? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nays have it. We'll now transition to citizens' communication. I do want to set the table just for anyone who's new. The time limit that we have is 30 minutes. Clearly, it looks like we have two main issues that want to be discussed, two separate issues. And so I want to make sure everyone's aware of our time limit, so please be cognizant of that. And so if you all want to confer with each other from that standpoint. However, as chair, we generally, when there's contentious issues or things of that nature, as the chair, I can extend the time period. I may take that privilege to extend that time period. I don't know what that's going to be, but I want to make certain I just set that table when you come here. As it's stated in the document, we allow for 30 minutes. I, as chair, can extend that, but even if I choose to extend that, it won't be for an inordinate amount of time. So please, particularly for those who have the same comments about the same thing, and again, I'm talking to two different groups right here because we have one group who has I have all the cards for one group, has something totally different to say than another group over here, and all we have is 30 minutes. So please be cognizant of that from that standpoint. First card, we'll do Reverend Benny Johnson, and then the second will go to Judge Wendell Griffin.
For over 3 decades, we've been dealing with this hellhole over here on 12th Street. And Mayor, I went by there today, people hanging out, and the police right there and don't do anything. Man, this has been going on entirely too long. Enough is enough. It's time to quit beating this dead horse. And the late police assistant chief, Bueller, had him on the phone one day. I asked him, why don't y'all do anything about that hellhole over there? He started making these excuses. I said, look here, I'm tired of making excuses. Now, when some cats came up missing in Pulaski Heights a few years ago, they put a special unit to find out who was stealing those cats. Now, one of the city directors here had a friend in Southwest Little Rock, was playing loud music, and they sent a unit there the whole time to make sure the people didn't play loud music. So we're going to put a special unit to find out who's shooting down, particularly black kids in our city. Now, the only response I get out of this city board, Director Ken Richardson, Director Phillips, he comes here every time I come here, Director Lewis, who went down and talked to people at Big Country Shadow, but we don't get no other responses. And I'm going to tell you something, I'm not trying to be harsh, but it's time for a lot of you to go home because you're not being effective on this board. You're not fair. We live in 2 different cities, north of or 630 and south of 630. And we talking about moving forward in this city, but we're moving backwards when you talk about the black and brown neighborhood, because you got bad dilapidated houses, you got high crime, you got bad streets, but yet you won't do anything about it. And it's time to quit beating this dead horse. Like my mother used to say, enough is enough and too much stinks. And we need to do something about it. And I'm tired of coming down here, Mayor, because I talked to you a few weeks ago about it, and you said it's going to be done, but it's not, Mayor. Nothing has improved. And also, my sister, a 33-year employee at the Little Rock School, that just retired, and somebody just come down shooting and shot her house up and everything, and can't get no support from the city. We need to quit. I don't care what ethnicity is, black, white, brown, Palestinian. Everybody needs fair treatment. Everybody deserves to be. And some of you don't think you can be defeated. Yes, we're going to come after you, because Director Lewis showed, and she won overwhelmingly from an incumbent. It's time some of you to go home.
Thank you, Reverend Johnson. We appreciate you, Reverend Johnson. Judge Wendell Griffin.
Mayor Scott, Vice Mayor, Directors, good evening. I am here with a group of people who are going to be asking you in time to embrace a resolution calling for a ceasefire. I will introduce two people, and I will stand aside in recognition of what you said, Mayor. I am glad to be here because our city has an opportunity to be a leader. And I believe that we can lead in an area where leadership is badly needed. I am glad to introduce Dr. Ahmed Ali and Summer Ibrahim. Dr. Ali will come first, and then Summer will come secondly. And now may I stand aside? I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, but I don't want to violate the rule. I know when it's time to sit. Dr. Ahmed?
Hey there, Mayor Scott. Do I have your permission to speak?
Yes, of course.
All right, I'm here to represent a wonderful group of, very diverse group of people, Muslims, Jews, Christians, all walks of life in Little Rock.
Excuse me, sir. Make sure speaking to the microphone, bring it down. Thank you.
Are you able to hear me better now?
Yes.
So basically, I'm a local doctor here in this community. I have been here since 2010. And since then, we've been calling Little Rock home. I didn't know where Little Rock is before I immigrated to the US in 1999. I was 18 years old then. When I came here, I knew about the Little Rock School of Nine, or what we call it outside in Africa, where I was raised, the School of Nine. Here, we know it by the name of the Little Rock Nine, basically a group of young children, 9 of them decided to shatter the glass of racism, challenge, walked with a lot of fear in their hearts, but a lot of courage at the same time. Basically, they had a request to be treated equally. I am here representing my group here, basically calling for the city of Little Rock to call for a resolution or adopt a resolution that is not really taking sides. It's basically calling on all parties involved to cease fire, spare civilians any military activities. Some of you might wonder if Little Rock is really the place for something like this. And I really think it's more symbolic than anything to be on the right side of history at this time. Back at the time, this was an unpopular demand. Everybody, if we polled Little Rock or Arkansas during that time, they would probably be against the desegregation. Everybody wanted to be segregated back at the time, the overwhelming majority. But I hope it's not the case now for something very similar. I know that this might not be a popular demand, but it is the right one. Why are we involved here in Little Rock? 3 reasons. One, we live here, we belong here, but unfortunately our tax dollar is being used to fund the war over there. This year alone, and since last October, at least 24 billion were sent to military aid to Israel. And from Arkansas, there's at least 57 million that are basically being used to invest in Israeli bonds that are really funding the war. And then this year alone, after what happened, 10 more million were added. I'm not sure how much, Mayor Scott, how much is our Little Rock budget in comparison to these numbers that I stated. I think this money should stay home. But in the meantime, again, I'm not asking any of you to take any sides or basically step away from any side, but basically it's mostly a symbolic stance that basically say put Little Rock on the right side of history, that we're against violence against civilians regardless of their race or ethnicity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Salam, peace. My name is Samar Abu Nasra, and I'm 15 years old, and I'm a fifth-generation refugee from Palestine. I do not feel safe as a Palestinian. All the horror I've seen of my people, my homeland being occupied, children and families stuck under the rubble. Who knows if my family in Palestine is dead or alive? I haven't even got the chance to meet them because of the occupied land. I do not feel safe as a Palestinian. I feel the stares from behind my back. I feel as if I don't belong simply because I'm Palestinian. I watched as the racism fester. I see people around the world celebrating the lands of their ancestors, while my land is facing a genocide. I do not feel safe as a Palestinian. I wish I do. I'm scared to speak up because of the hatred I've seen. I'm scared of being kicked out of school simply for standing up for humanity. I'm scared to be killed for being Palestinian, just as a 6-year-old was murdered here in the United States of America just for being Palestinians. Like, how dare we even exist? I do not feel safe as a Palestinian. Why should I? My people have been murdered. I've been watching a genocide in my home on live TV. People like you and I, they're out there screaming for the world to hear their cries. I'm ashamed to live in a country that uses our tax dollars to support a genocide to my people, where my president sends billions of dollars to erase my dear Palestinians out of existence. I do not feel safe as a Palestinian, but we will change that, and we will stand up to humanity. We will not stop until Palestine is free, and we will not stop until no more families are under the rubble, and we will not stop until a ceasefire now. We will be safe as Palestinians. They cannot kill us or break us. All of us as humans will rise up and stand up for human rights. Stand up for the babies being slaughtered. Stand up for the families suffering under the rubble. Stand up for the children being starved. Stand up for what's right. We will be safe as Palestinians. They cannot kill our spirits. We're in the trees, we're in the breeze, we're in the land. No matter how many of us are murdered, they cannot murder the spirits of us Palestinians. No matter what they do, we will not accept their occupation. We will be safe as Palestinians. Our homeland will be liberated, and we will cry happy tears. We will yell of joy and live in peace as we were before 1948. Within our lifetime, Palestine will be free. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I close for 1 minute?
Yes, sir.
May 30, 2020 is a date that all of us remember because it was the date that we watched one person die for 9 minutes, George Floyd. I have asked myself, if I had been in that space, what would I have done? And I have concluded that I would have at least done one thing. I would have said, stop. If I had said stop, if enough people had said stop, George Floyd's name would not be remembered, but George Floyd would be alive. George Floyd's name is remembered now because he's dead. I don't want us in Little Rock to let a genocide go by and we didn't say stop. We can do that courageously. I'm a Christian. I've been to the region. I've seen it. I'm a veteran. Last time I smelled tear gas was when I was in the region. We can say stop the killing. I only ask you, when we ask you to support a resolution, please support a ceasefire, a humanitarian aid for everyone in Israel, in the West Bank, in Gaza. Peace. Thank you.
All right, we'll now go to Susan Thomas. We'll now proceed to Susan Thomas. Before we go to Susan, Judge Griffin, if you'll approach the podium one more time. If you'll confer with everyone within the statements that you just shared, we have a few more cards, but like we shared that time, I want to thank you for demonstrating leadership with many of those, but we do have a few more. But if what's been shared has been shared, we can not necessarily discard, but we won't go to those, and we'll allot the other time for everyone else who's had some other agenda items. Is that okay?
Mr. Mayor, I believe I can confirm that it's okay. One person will speak, one more person who is Jewish would like to be heard.
Sure. Well, we'll come to that one more person, but we'll proceed on the other side of things with another issue.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge. I do appreciate you.
And thank you, members of the board, for your attention.
All right, Joanne Colebank.
Hi, my name is Joanne Colebank, and I've been a volunteer at Little Rock Animal Village for 10 years. I actually live in North Little Rock, but I think that Little Rock Animal Village is such a great place that I drive about 30 minutes one way to come and volunteer here. Little Rock Animal Village has been under criticism lately, and I think it's very unfair and it's unfounded. I know that the Best Friends organization would like to take over management of Little Rock Animal Village because they have a goal, and that's no kill by 2025. Little Rock Animal Village could become a no-kill shelter tomorrow, and to do that, all they have to do is shut the doors and stop intake, which is what Best Friends wants to do. Ask the residents of Pine Bluff where they go to adopt a cat, because since Best Friends took over Pine Bluff, they take tame cats, they sterilize them, and they put them back where they found them. When citizens call and need help with an animal, they are told that they're full, even though the kennels are not full. That is how Best Friends gets to no kill. What does that result in? The animals are left on the streets. They're left on the streets to reproduce. They're left on the streets to get sick. They're left on the streets to get hit by cars. And they're left on the streets to fend for themselves and experience a slow death of starvation. Best Friends will stop at nothing to take over Little Rock Animal Village, including personal attacks against the manager, Mr. Tracy Roark. And I think it's very unfair. I would like to urge you tonight to do the right thing for the citizens of Little Rock and the animals of this city, and allow everything to continue as it is, and to not allow the shelter to be taken over by Best Friends. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Colebank. The next card is Karen Kelly. Karen Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Directors. I'm a little hoarse, so if you guys can't hear me, please let me know. I came today to speak about a concern that we, myself and other citizens within the community have involving Little Rock Animal Village. Recently, a dog was released from there, unsterilized. The dog sat in Little Rock Animal Village for 17 days. Normal holding procedure is 7 days. On the 8th day, according to policy, as we've read it and understand it, as just the general liaisons, the dog becomes the property of the shelter on day 8, city property. At that point, the dog should have been sterilized. She was not sterilized. She was held an additional period of time and allowed to be released to a breeder who provided insufficient information in reclaiming the dog. We have a state law that requires dogs to be sterilized when they're adopted out. So my question, not only for this board and as we go forward, possibly even in another meeting, bringing more information back with myself and other volunteers, how is this dog allowed to leave the shelter unsterilized? That dog all by herself will have at least 10 puppies, at least 10. And yes, shelters are overflowing, regardless of who runs the shelter and which shelter it is. And this city struggles with stray dogs. And simply because this was a $3,500 dog, does it make it any different than the stray pit bull or the stray mixed breed dog that gets fixed irregardless? It shouldn't. So we ask this board of directors to at least consider that Little Rock Animal Village have consistent policies when releasing a dog. If their owner reclaims, what is it allowing the Little Rock director or his staff to release a dog unsterilized because they decide that the owner's okay to release it to? Thank you.
Natalie Shelton.
Susan, I think she has some hand up.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Shelton, and I work for Best Friends Animal Society as a strategist for the South Central region. I am also a Little Rock resident and have been for most of my life. As a Best Friends employee, it is my job to be a resource for Arkansas municipal shelters. Municipal shelter employees have one of the most physically and mentally demanding jobs. The services they provide and the problems they face are not only constant but simultaneous. City shelters aren't given the luxury of time, space, and sometimes funding and other resources. Where monitoring the sustainability of their solutions while managing a healthy work culture is incredibly difficult to balance. And it has been a privilege of mine to collaborate with Arkansas shelters, utilizing our unique perspectives to achieve the shelter's goals and enriching their community. If we are both focused on the objective to save lives and create a sustainable system, diversity in viewpoints and skills is a gracious tool to possess. Our Little Rock shelter is drowning and deserves help. They say so themselves. Nearly 20% of the shelter animals killed in Arkansas in 2022 were killed at the Animal Village. And yet multiple life preservers have been thrown to shelter leadership and have been refused as if they would rather drown. When the shelter experienced a distemper outbreak last year, a lifeline of a rescue for the shelter received distemper puppies from Little Rock and reached out to us, stating they wanted to continue to help the Animal Village, but not without us stepping in to ensure the disease was contained. We had offered $10,000 in funding for testing and supplies and the management of our national medical director to oversee the process, and shelter management declined. We have pulled dogs from the shelter into our program, and instead of continuing the conversation and doing this again and again by working together, shelter leadership stopped responding to our attempts at communicating this. The shelter was invited to, but chose not to participate in the Central Arkansas Shelter Adoption Event this February, where dogs in their care could have been adopted, and it was an incredible opportunity for Central Arkansas Shelters and Rescues to network. The Animal Advisory Board was implemented to review and recommend changes to the city's current animal ordinance and other matters that concern the care of and safety of animals within the city. Supposed to meet monthly, a meeting hasn't been held in years. There's been too many times when an organization, community member, shelter staff member, or shelter volunteer has asked why and have been met with silence or anger. Even multiple FOIA requests for the shelters should be publicly available data have been ignored. Only 14% of Little Rock residents agree Little Rock's Board of Directors is doing a good job spending their tax dollars to help stray and homeless dogs and cats. Little Rock is a great city, but we stunt our potential and our growth if we ignore the cycle that perpetuates the suffering of our shelter animals and staff. A problem has been identified. Animals and the humans caring for them are suffering. Each of you can see the simple offer in front of you. I implore you to accept the initial offer of support that would simply begin to provide much needed help and resources for our shelter staff at no cost to the shelter or city. Ignoring a problem is one thing, but when a solution to that problem is given and ignored as well, that is an injustice. Thank you very much.
Shelley Smith.
Hi, my name is Shelley Smith. I was born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas. And in 1980, I went to the Little Rock Animal Services to look for a puppy that my dad had given me for my birthday. Unfortunately, it was not there, but it began a 44-year volunteer service with the Little Rock Animal Shelter that turned into the Little Rock Animal Village. I can personally tell you that we have rescued over 11,000 dogs since we've become an incorporated nonprofit in the past 20 years. I have direct experience with what goes on over at Little Rock Animal Village and what has happened since Best Friends has become involved with shelters outside of Little Rock. Little Rock Animal Services, Little Rock Animal Village, is now providing animal services for Pulaski County because they refuse to pick animals up, for Pine Bluff because they refuse to accept animals into their shelter, for Benton Animal Services, for Hot Springs, Heber Springs. I can tell you multiple cities that I have been over there at the shelters where people have walked in and stated that they were referred to the animal village because they were not taking animals at their local shelter. So the recent influx of animals at the Little Rock Animal Shelter is beyond the problem of Little Rock. It's encompassing multiple counties and cities around the state. Best Friends was considered a failed venture in Los Angeles. They have a budget of over $80 million a year, yet they can't seem to present problems that will address that to make a difference at Little Rock Animal Village or these other shelters that they're already in. How many spay-neuter clinics have they offered the state? None. How many transport options have they offered the state or the city shelters? None. They only simply want to get in the doors to take over and have their own agenda and then incorporate that shelter into their donor base. It's all about money with them. Look at their millions of dollars that they spent scrubbing the internet daily to remove the negative articles about them from the Los Angeles shelter, where they removed animals only to find out that those animals were taken to a shelter and killed, euthanized. So the numbers, it's all merely a numbers game. As far as Tracy Roark, I can tell you, I didn't always agree with every director over at the Animal Village or the Animal Shelter, but I highly respect Tracy, and I never once have doubted that he always does the right thing. He might not be in the position to do something that any of us want to do, but he always does what's right for the city, what's right for the animal, and what's right for the community. He would never do the things that the people are saying on Facebook. It's absolutely absurd. Making obscene gestures about him and his staff and stating that they're selling animals out the back door and insinuating all kinds of lewd conduct. It should be slanderous. They should be held accountable. There's absolutely no factual basis behind this, and it should not be allowed. And I'm appalled that people in the rescue community are doing these things. I don't want to get into further details because other people want to speak, but I think 44 years of experience, I can tell you a lot of things.
Ma'am, it's now time for someone else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sandy Moore. Sandy Moore.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Directors. I'm a longtime resident of Little Rock and a dedicated volunteer in animal rescue for over 25 years. Throughout my years of service, I've witnessed both the compassion and the challenges inherent in caring for our city's animals. I come before you today to urge you not to support any contractual agreements with Best Friends Animal Society and the City of Little Rock Animal Services Division. While the concept of a no-kill shelter may seem noble, in reality it poses significant challenges for both the animals and our community. One of the fundamental flaws of a no-kill shelter is the practice of turning animals away at the door. While it may seem like a compassionate approach, it does little to save the lives of animals in need. Relying solely on community fostering places an overwhelming burden on individuals who may not be equipped to handle sick or injured animals. Having coordinated foster homes for LRAV in the past, I can attest to the limited pool of people who are able to provide care for healthy animals. While some may step up with the right support, we cannot expect the average citizen to manage the sheer volume of animals without a robust spay-new program that involves the entire community. It's crucial to understand that no-kill policies do not prevent animals from dying. They simply shift the burden elsewhere. Shelters that turn animals away ultimately condemn them to potentially miserable fates elsewhere. While our current open admission shelter may not be perfect, it operates with a level of fairness and equity that is essential for our community. While there is certainly room for improvement at LRIV, it's important to recognize that addressing these challenges requires adequate funding and resources. From my experience, euthanasia, while not ideal, is sometimes the most humane option for animals in dire circumstances. In conclusion, I urge you to consider the practical implications of implementing a no-kill policy in our city. We should work together to find solutions that prioritize the welfare of both our animals and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Bogan. Kelly Bogan.
Hi, my name's Kelly Bogan, and I'm a resident of Little Rock. I am also the president of Local Rescue, a 100% volunteer organization that was founded in 2007. We've been around for a while. We've been interacting with the animal welfare organizations all around the state. As with all things in animal welfare, there's always someone looking from the outside proclaiming wrongdoing and that they know the right way to do it. I would love a world where we could save them all. But that's just not where we live. Where we live, we have an animal population problem without enough homes, resources, laws, or ordinances to control what's going on in our city or in our state. When municipal shelters are required to refuse intake as a way to reduce euthanasia rates, the animals suffer. When constituents are told that under no circumstances should they bring an animal to the shelter, and if they do, they are turned away, the animals suffer. In my volunteer position, I receive almost daily requests from desperate people who have repeatedly reached out to their animal control and been turned away. If the animal isn't injured or visibly sick, they're refused to pick up because the shelter is full. I sent a letter in describing a case where less than a mile from their city shelter, a stray was dumped. They called animal services. They were told they'll be put on a list and we'll get back to you. 2 years later, multiple litters, multiple deaths in the freezing cold. After many calls for help, they eventually reached out to us. We did help. We shouldn't have had to. You're depending on volunteers to do the work of what their taxpayers are funding their city to do. You can't depend on us to do everything. Refusing animal intake does not magically get those animals homed. It gets them abused, it gets them dumped other places, it gets them brought to the city of Little Rock to go to animal services here. It leaves them out there to reproduce and exponentially increase our problems that we have in our state. I have many experiences to share, like the animal that was left in city limits, left living in a ditch with its dead siblings. It was living there for months. Animal control was called. They would not pick it up because the animal was not obviously injured. He was just eating his dead siblings so he could survive. We rescued him within somebody else's city limits. Or the numerous dogs that we pick up that have bullets lodged in their body. Because in counties, they are told, go ahead and take care of it by any means necessary. You can shoot a nuisance animal or an unwanted animal. It doesn't mean everybody's a great shot. It means the animal's injured. When city services refuse their citizens,
yes, ma'am.
the animals suffer.
Excuse me?
Please don't fall victim to the attack.
Yes, ma'am, your time is up. Susan Thomas.
Good evening. I'm Susan Thomas, a lifelong resident of Little Rock and a 7-year volunteer at the Animal Village. Also, I am the treasurer of the Friends of the Animal Village, so I fully support the Little Rock Animal Services and all they do. Tracy has done a wonderful job. Our role as the Friends of the Animal Village is to support anything and everything that the village needs. So just last year, almost $100,000 was raised by us and given to the programs of the Animal Village. We plan on extending extra either supplies, services, to the village. I want to thank you all as a city board for funding the construction that's going on out there. So I know there are a lot of things that can be improved out there, and I believe that the city is investing in the shelter, and I think the shelter can hold its own. I don't think we need best friends coming in. Now, if they want to offer support, that's different than wanting a contractual agreement. So in this case, I would say that a better use of the city's time would be to look at spay and neuter vouchers for residents. Spay and neuter can help the problem from the beginning. If an animal is never bred that's not wanted, it won't end up in a city shelter. We won't have to find an adoptive family for that animal. And I know springtime is here and kitten season is starting. Puppies are everywhere. So it just emphasizes the spay and neuter that's much more important than no kill. A no kill comes after spay and neuter. So I just want to voice my support for the Animal Village and just encourage you all to go visit when the construction is complete in a few months. And you'll see there's a new dog wash, there's a new photo booth. The Animal Village is thriving. So I just want to thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you so much. We're nearing the time. Judge Griffin, I believe you shared Stephanie Gray. We'll conclude.
Thank you, Mayor. I very much appreciate you being patient with us and allowing for all of us to speak. Hello, my name is Stephanie Gray, and I am a resident of Ward 3. I'm an academic specializing in Jewish studies. I'm a grassroots organizer. I'm also proudly Jewish, and I deeply love my people, and I feel called to speak today because I am a Jew. Since October 7th, I have lost friends and colleagues, Palestinian and Israeli. They were mothers, sisters, wives, colleagues, teachers, storytellers, and peacemakers. They were building a different future for the land of Israel, a future without war, without occupation and division. They were my friends, and they are gone, but their legacy continues in me and all who loved them. They are why I'm here tonight, and all of the other Palestinians and Israelis I know still fighting for liberation as this genocide unfolds. Every morning, I check my WhatsApp to check on those in Rafah, Jerusalem, Beersheba, Ramallah, Tel Aviv, to see if those that I love are still alive. I know many behind me do the same thing every day. This is what it means for us in Little Rock, and this is the reality here. The impact is right in front of us. In Little Rock, it is not rare that I meet someone who tells me that I am the first Jew that they have ever met. It is also not rare that many have never ever stepped into a mosque in Little Rock. Since October 7th, I have received death threats, verbal assault, physical assaults as a Jew. Myself and my Palestinian friends have been followed by the police on several occasions after protest. Little Rock is not a safe place for so many of us, and this will only worsen as this war rages on. We have seen the deadly consequences, as others have mentioned, of Islamophobia, anti-Palestinian racism, and anti-Semitism in this country when ignored. With each day, we are losing the future of Gaza. 1 out of every 100 children in Gaza has been killed since October 7th. With each day, we are risking losing over 100 hostages that are still being held captive. We are losing religious sites, hospitals, schools, homes. The enormity of this loss is incomprehensible. It is clear that there is no military solution to what is happening in Gaza. There is no military solution to the ongoing occupation of Palestine. A democratic future of the land must be determined by the people of the land. But the work of building that future cannot and will not happen unless there is a permanent ceasefire. My tradition teaches me whoever destroys a soul, it is considered as if they destroyed an entire world. And whoever saves a life, it is considered as if they have saved an entire world. Tonight, the Board of Directors has the ability to hold up this sacred calling, to condemn the violence, to say that there is a better way forward, that the city welcomes and protects Palestinians, Jews, and all people. What decision will you make tonight?
Thank you so much. Is there a motion to go into executive session for boards and commissions?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session for boards and commissions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We'll now enter into recess. Members of the board, we're now coming back into session to discuss boards and commissions. We'll do Arts and Cultural Commission. Cade Bethia, Arthur Broadbent III, Laura Sanders, Aisha Webster, Deshaun Wilkins. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. City Beautiful Commission, Aline Higgins, Sandra Lewis Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Children, Youth, and Families Commission, Jennifer Cobb, Jennifer Ferguson, Anthony Hamilton, Vicky Hatter. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Land Bank Commission, Natalie James, Erica O'Neill McCarroll, Kendall Llewellyn, Taiwan Haney, Derek Fletcher, Tracy Critter. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Little Rock Sustainability Commission, Jeremy Steele, Nate Perry. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Racial Cultural Diversity Commission, Osiris Bali, Joey Blanks Jr., Nicole Freeman, Crystal Kellebrew, Kashayla Bridges, Kimberly Enoch, Maria Owens, Roger Stiggin. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Sister Cities Commission, Summer Kari. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Anything from members of the board? If not, a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.